Coach, when you look at Ohio State offensively, what stands out? Kind of where, I know you focus on a lot of things, but what stands out about them?
Yeah, I think it's the skill. You know, they got really good skill. You know, traditionally they've always had really good wideouts. You know, schematically, you know, they put you in a lot of situations to try to put stress on the defense. So, you know, they got good coaches, good players. You know, they're an Ohio State team. You know, some of the teams I've seen in the past, they're very similar to that.
Rob?
Coach, I know it's just one game, but how is Michigan able to have so much success against their defense, and can that inform, you know, what you guys are able to do?
Yeah, I think it's just like anything, it's a rivalry game. You know, those guys, you know, play extremely hard against each other, and, you know, Michigan did a lot of good things. But, you know, for us, you know, we look at those guys, just like I said, a lot of great skill from the running backs to the receivers, and, you know, obviously they got a lot of pride up front, you know, how they go about their business. So, you know, I just think anytime you play in a rivalry game, you know, anything can happen, and, you know, obviously Michigan was very fortunate that day.
David?
Tim, what do you knew about this program and when you signed on to be the DC? What have you learned in the time you've been here that you feel like is the biggest reason why they don't have the success they've had under Josh?
You saying us as a program, the
Yeah.
success we've had? Yeah, the fan base, I think it starts there. You know, they're very passionate, you know, about the University of Tennessee, and rightfully so. You know, it's a lot of, you know, truth to this program in terms of what they've done in the past. And, you know, we felt like, you know, given the right, you know, environment, you can have a chance to be very, very successful. So I think it just starts with the guys we've been able to recruit, the guys we've been able to keep here in the program, and again, just the fan base. So, you know, we've been very fortunate, you know, to be able to win a lot of games here. And I think, again, it just starts with the passion the fans have, the way we play in Neyland Stadium, because of the energy those guys bring, you know, week in and week out. They're very exciting, to say the least. So I just think this is a very passionate fan base, you know, a very passionate university that wants to win, and, you know, we're just, you know, extremely grateful to be a part of it.
To the back with Emily?
You talk about a passionate fan base. I don't know if you've seen it online, but Tennessee fans are pretty much doing whatever they can to snag a ticket to this game. What does that say about just how eager they are to support the team that they've grown up watching?
Yeah, I'm not on the internet very often, but, you know, I would assume it just, again, just speaks volumes to who these guys are. You know, they want to support us no matter where we've been. You know, we've been in a lot of venues, and, you know, it's always great to be able to look up there and see that orange and white. So, you know, hopefully this game will be no different. You know, we'll get those guys in there, and they'll be cheering for us.
Tim, you're not gonna have Jalen Smith in this game. What does that do to you defensively, and where is Edwin Stillman in terms of being ready if he's called on to step in that role?
Yeah, you know, we were fortunate enough to get Edwin back, you know, in the Vanderbilt game, which is great for us. Yeah, so we're excited about him. You know, we really are. You know, he's definitely going to play a role in this game, and, you know, he played a role in the Vandy game. You know, we thought a lot of him, you know, when we recruited him. So, you know, he hasn't disappointed. It's obviously tough losing him, you know, for the amount of time that we did, but we're excited to have him, you know. So it'll be good. You know, it'll definitely be a bigger role for him, and can't wait to watch him play.
Paige?
You mentioned OSU being able to put stress on your team. How much stress do you think they'll be putting on your defensive backs, understanding the elite trio of wide receivers they have?
Yeah, I think it'll be a great challenge, you know, for our guys. You know, the way they run the ball, you know, to set up the play action pass and things of that nature. You know, we're going to do a really good job of, you know, obviously helping our guys on the back end, but, you know, our DNA is, you know, we want to be able to stop the run. So, yeah, it's going to be a great challenge. You know, our guys are eager for that challenge. You know, they worked this whole season, you know, to be in these type of venues and have these type of opportunities. So, they'll be very excited for it.
Caleb on the left, and then Patrick on the right.
Where have you seen Aaron Carter grow the most this year?
Yeah, I think, you know, losing KP early, you know, in the year, you know, was devastating for all of us. But I thought, you know, the way those guys have stepped up, you know, AC included, you know, from a verbal perspective, you know, being a lot more vocal with, you know, what's going on in terms of our play calling. So I just think the leadership, you know, I know he's always had it in him. You know, he's kind of forced it to it when we lost KP, but, you know, he's definitely stepped up his game as far as leadership.
Tim, you got a couple of corners that have played as well as Ricky and Jamal have this season. What does that allow you to do as a coordinator? How much trust have you sort of built in them over the course of the season, how they play?
Yeah, we have a lot of trust in those guys. You know, obviously you breed confidence, you know, by your play. You know, those guys have played extremely well all year. So, you know, anytime you got good corners, you know, it takes the stress off other positions and allows us to do different things, you know, schematically. But we're going to need everybody. We're going to need the corners. We're going to need, obviously, the front, the linebackers, you know, to be successful in this game. So, like I said earlier, you know, having those guys on those edges is definitely a health sake for us.
Jim, with how many defensive linemen you've played this year, can you feel the impact of that and how fresh they are, maybe compared to some years where you weren't able to get as many guys in?
Yeah, I don't know if we can say fresh, but it's definitely, great to have that many, to be able to rotate those guys, as much as we have, it's been awesome. And we're gonna need them all, to be successful this weekend, so, I think when you build the defense, you always wanna build it from the front to the back, and obviously on the perimeter, we've been very blessed to have enough, depth up front to be able to rotate those guys and still keep the standing.
Paige in the back.
You mentioned the vocal leadership of Marion Carter, but one of the biggest leaders is Amari Thomas. How has he helped to keep the focus of the team, especially here in game week?
Yeah, Big O has been very consistent, particularly these last couple of years in terms of just being a positive role model for those guys. So he's doing his job, he speaks when he needs to speak, but I think everybody can look to him in terms of how he practices every week, week in and week out, no matter the opponent. So it's been big, he's had a ton of experience and, all those guys look up to him.
Last one up front here, or actually Brent, then Wes will finish.
Tim, you said back in August that one of your main goals for improving this defense was in the red zone. Why has this defense been so much better in the red zone than it had in previous years?
Yeah, I just think they play on a lot of confidence. We play a lot of guys up front, so I think we're fresh, particularly in those moments. I think a lot of it has to do with the back end, how high level those guys are playing at. But yeah, we've obviously concentrated on it coming into the season, and just like anything, you love to see the fruits of your labor, and those guys work really hard at it, and it's great to see those guys play well.
Tim, I guess to the, as best you can tell anyway, to this point this week, has the team treated this like a normal week? I mean, or are things up a notch, or do you want them to be up a notch, or do you want them to be the same?
Yeah, I mean, our routine is our routine. The way we get ready, our process, so to speak, is our process. So, the kids are always excited, to play the game. And I think that's what I love about this team. They just want to play. They want to put the ball down and have an opportunity. Hopefully we'll get 4 opportunities at this thing. It starts with, Ohio State this weekend, and, it's going to be a great challenge for us. But just the way those guys have approached this game has been, very consistent who we've been all year.
All right. Thank you. We'll have Coach Hall.